Afternoon, colleagues, distinguished guests, faculty members, partners, and most importantly, our graduating class of 2025-2026. On behalf of the University of the Witwatersrand, it is my esteemed pleasure to welcome you to this graduation ceremony for the dossier assessment for clinical assessors within African Regulatory Agencies course for the class of 2025-2026. Today is a really important milestone for our participants because over the past year, each of them has undertaken really intensive training that has been focused on the scientific and regulatory evaluation of clinical data within medicines dossiers. The purpose of our course has always been to remain the same. It's been to strengthen the expertise of regulatory professionals who are responsible for assessing the clinical evidence that supports our national regulatory decision-making. Across Africa, regulatory authorities have come to operate with increasingly complex scientific and public health environments. The availability for safe, effective, and high-quality medicines depends on strong regulatory systems, as well as on the professionals who possess the expertise that is required to evaluate this clinical data, both with rigor and scientific integrity. Programs such as ours, therefore, aims to contribute directly to the broader effort of strengthening regulatory sciences, building professional capacity, and supporting collaboration between regulatory authorities on our continent. This cohort has brought together professionals working within 9 different national regulatory authorities, as well as some individuals who have engaged in regulatory practices across institutional settings. This exchange of experiences across these contexts has really come to form a really important element of our program. It's helped our participants to foster professional dialogue and to strengthen their networks that go beyond their own national borders. So we are incredibly proud of our graduating class of 2025-2026, and we're incredibly grateful to have you all with us today. But before we can move into the points of celebration, allow me a brief opportunity to outline the structure for today's session. As you can see on the slides that are being presented, we will begin with 2 keynote speakers who will reflect on how they actively engage with strengthening regulatory systems. Following these addresses, we will hear reflections from regulatory stakeholders and our program faculty. Later in the program, we will then formally recognize the achievements of our graduating class through our graduate roll call, and that will then be followed by reflections from our alumni who have previously completed this program and are now contributing as mentors not only to this program, but also within their regulatory institutions. We'll also hear from some members of the graduating class themselves as they reflect on their experiences, as well as what they perceive to be the future of regulatory sciences. We'll then conclude with a very short closing reflection as we then celebrate the achievements of the class of 2025-2026. So it is now my great pleasure to introduce our first keynote contributor. The German Agency for International Cooperation, or the GIZ, has been an important partner in supporting regulatory system strengthening across Africa. Through collaborations with national regulatory authorities, regional initiatives, and academic institutions such as ourselves, the GIZ has supported programs that aim to expand regulatory expertise, strengthen institutional capacity, and contribute to a more coordinated regulatory environment. We are therefore really honored to welcome Ms. Phyllis Njiru, who will be representing the GIZ, to share reflections on the importance of regulatory system strengthening and the rationale for supporting programs such as this. Phyllis, over to you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Good afternoon to everybody. I think it's quite exciting to be at this point of this journey. It's really good to be part of this cohort of this journey. So thank you for having me just to have some opening words. A bit about GIZ. GIZ is a technical implementing agency with a technical arm of the German Ministry of Development Cooperation. So GIZ works worldwide to support sustainable development. And historically, areas of support are more around economic growth, environmental protection, climate change, and peace and security. If I can say relatively more recently, in some countries, including South Africa, in response to the COVID pandemic, the German government did partner with South Africa in efforts to support, it started out with the production of COVID vaccines in South Africa. As time and a lot of efforts have come underway, this project and the focus has evolved quite nicely, and it's evolved more to support the broader local production of pharmaceutical products in South Africa and also in other countries on the continent. The global pandemic obviously did highlight the significant interdependencies of global systems, and Africa's health security can't be separated from global health security. So in efforts to support the ecosystem that is necessary to support local production, and the focus has also been to support regulatory system strengthening efforts. And more recently, the impact on building Africa's health systems has also shown that this is a clear strategic lever to support economic growth on the continent. And economic growth on the continent would be both mutually beneficial for Africa as well as international trading partners once there is a bigger local pharmaceutical manufacturing industry on the continent. And the impact of a built local pharmaceutical manufacturing production would also have a direct impact on sustainable development. So, quite broadly speaking, this is how we find ourselves partnering with this very interesting project. And just congratulations to everybody who's been on the journey. Thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you so much, Ms. Njura, for those reflections, and thank you so much for your continued partnership that has supported initiatives such as this program. We could not have done it without the support of the GIZ this year, and we thank you so much for your ongoing support and involvement in growing and developing this course. So thank you so much for those words. So our next keynote speaker then will be sharing insights into an important institution that's becoming increasingly central to the future of medicines regulation across the African continent, the African Medicines Agency. The establishment of AMA is an important step for us because it brings us towards deeper regulatory cooperation across the African states. A key component of the effort is the development of highly trained regulatory professionals that are capable of rigorous scientific evaluation and collaborative regulatory decision making. So it is therefore my pleasure to introduce Dr. Washington Samukange. Thank you so much for joining us today to provide reflections on the evolving role of AMA and the importance of the regulatory expertise in advancing that collaboration. Thank you so much, Washington. The floor is yours.
Great. Thanks a lot, Steph. And it is also my honor and privilege to join Pharmacometrics Africa, Wits University, and all of the distinguished colleagues that I see that are graduating today, and the regulatory professionals across the continent of Africa. I think when I look at what is happening this afternoon. For me, I think this represents the backbone of our public health systems, which is a subject which is close to my heart, which is regulatory science. And I think a lot of the people in the room, in this virtual room, understand that regulators are not visible to the public, but remain core to every safe medicine, every effective vaccine, every trusted health intervention. And so without these competent regulators, innovations will not reach patients safely, effectively, efficiently, or equitably. And so for me, I think I only have three main points to really highlight in my small talk, which is firstly is competent regulators who are effective for collaboration within our network. And so we have a lot of very interesting words: shared standards, reliance mechanisms, harmonization, and so forth. So these are all very important concepts that have been built over time. And on our continent, this convergence is very important. It's not just an ambition that we harbor, but it's a professional obligation. And so it is great to see all of you coming to this point to contribute to this very important at this very important time. And this brings me to the second point, which is the Africa Medicines Agency, which is a critical step in this evolution. It reflects a collective commitment to coordination, alignment, and shared regulatory strength. And it's pretty much saying that it's our resolve to move together. And it's not just institutions that can deliver outcomes, but it's people like you, the graduating cohort, who contribute to that success. And so the AMA framework is going to depend on highly trained professionals like you, who are committed to scientific excellence, integrity, and collaboration. And you represent the capacity that the AMA seeks to have in its agenda. And this is a very strong day for you, because the AMA in their strategy have already talked a lot about capacitated regulators on the continent and bringing this capacity. So what you've achieved is not just for your own institutions, but is also for the continent at large. And I want to end by just speaking a little bit about my own experience with competence building. I think from my end, as a regulator, as one of the regulators on the continent, I think the key thing that we see a lot is when we are unable to do the work that we all love because we don't have the right competences. And I think over the years, it's one of those things that we've struggled with that we didn't have when I started in regulation. We didn't have Pharmacometrics Africa. We didn't have Wits University doing these types of courses that we see today. And so we are excited that we see this, these opportunities, which allow all of us to join this growing continental community of regulatory leaders who have the capacities and the skills, the necessary skills to continue upholding the highest standards, but doing the work that we all love. And because the future of Africa's regulatory systems, it depends on you. So I join others in congratulating you, congratulating Pharmacometrics Africa, Wits University, and you, the graduating class. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Washington, for those really important insights. Thank you so much. I forgot to mention that Washington comes to us from the Gates Foundation, another really important stakeholder and partner to these regulatory capacity building initiatives, as well as strengthening of the regulatory landscape across the continent. Thank you so much for sharing those insights with us, and thank you for being here. So, while continental initiatives provide a very important framework for our cooperation, the daily work of medicines regulation really takes place within our national regulatory authorities. So capacity building initiatives such as ours have to remain very closely connected to the realities of regulatory practice. Our next contribution provides that perspective. So we will now hear a stakeholder reflection from a regulatory agency partner, highlighting how programs such as ours contribute to the regulatory work within SAHPRA. Dr. Tumi Semete joins us both as a regulatory stakeholder, but also as a very valued member of this program's founding and scientific steering committee, as she steered the ship towards the development of this program and has been deeply ingrained and involved in its growth and its development. So thank you very much, Dr. Semete, for being here, and thank you for joining us. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for inviting me to this graduation. And I just want to start off by congratulating everyone for reaching this point. I know it probably took a lot of your time in the midst of all the demands we put on you as heads of agencies, that you've taken the time to invest in your own personal development, but also to contribute to the needs that the NRA will have. So thank you so much and congratulations to you. I also just want to thank and to welcome our partners. You've heard from our two funders and partners in this program, and they're not only supporting this program, but a range of activities taking place, whether in South Africa or in other countries. So they're really friends and partners of us as NRAs on the continent. I'd like to thank our esteemed faculty who have put time in consolidating and putting together the material, and many of them have been with us since the beginning of this journey. So thank you so much for your time. I also want to thank Wits University and specifically Stephanie for really leading this program for us and enabling us to have an academic institution where this program can be housed, and therefore giving it a level of credibility. So I'd like to thank Wits University for that. I'd like to thank the organizers, and also the mentors. The mentors we have gone through the same journey, and it's so fulfilling for us to see some of the people that have undergone this process be mentors to those that are now participating, and to those that will also be participating in the future. And then lastly, I would like for you to please send my regards and my thank you to your respective heads of agency. Understand that we have about 9 NRAs represented. And as I said earlier, I can imagine with all the pressures that you're sitting with, just to have their support in you taking the time to invest in your development, but also just to give you that time off work to participate in this program. Please let them know that we are truly grateful for that. You may be wondering, why do we keep doing this? I think Colin will correct me. I think this is the 5th iteration of this program. And I remember when we started off, just joined SAPRA, and we had a wonderful webinar. It was virtual, meant to be in person, and then COVID happened and disrupted us. But when we got together with a range of heads of agencies, some of them have subsequently retired. Madame Gugu is one of them. And we thought, with all the developments that we're seeing in health technology and all the advances, we have to, as a continent, invest in in building capacity and capability in certain areas. And the area of clinical assessment came up tops. Not that the others were not important, but this area came up top of the list. And so we saw a dire need for us to build this capacity in the continent, spanning from clinical trial evaluations all the way to assessing the clinical part of the dossier. And you can imagine, with all the innovative therapies, the innovative vaccines, some vaccines have even been used for therapeutic purposes, innovative diagnostic products, we have to ensure that we can satisfy ourselves as a regional regulatory cohort and body that these products are indeed effective and that they're safe and they meet the quality standard. And when you look at the complexity of this, it requires that we invest time in building these capabilities. You may be seeing, as clinical assessors, you're starting to see more and more of these long-acting type of therapies. Seeing how you could do bioequivalent studies, how bioequivalent studies, for example, are done between the originator and generics that are long-acting. When it comes to vaccines during COVID, we saw, again, the use of mRNA vaccines that many of us had not really engaged with in that level of depth. And now we're seeing AI being used in medical devices. And how do we then assess and validate the clinical efficacy of these and its performance? So this demonstrates that as a regulatory community, we must constantly be investing in our skills, constantly be engaging in the capacity. And I'm really grateful, for the support we have from our partners, from Colin, who's really running the show, the program, that we are intentional about building this capacity. Washington articulated very well around how all of this fits into AMA. And I can't stress that even more, that as AMA will be looking at some of the more complex products that maybe some of them don't even go specifically to certain NRAs, that when we have the capacity, AMA would be able to call on individuals like yourself to say, can you come and participate in a assessment of the clinical part of the dossier? So again, we are seeing this being part of a broader regulatory ecosystem that involves the NRAs, that involves AMA as the global, as the regional, the African entity, but also even at a REC level. I'm really thrilled to see that with the 9 NRAs that are here today, they span a range of RECs, which also goes a long way in assisting us, because a number of us continue to rely on the work that we do within our RECs. And I hope that as you participate in this training, you will certainly share your learnings and your experience with your colleagues within your NRA. And then the last reason why this program is quite important is around making sure that the regulator is ready to support this burgeoning, this growing local manufacturing industry. We have some of our local manufacturers, starting to manufacture vaccines. Some have been doing so for some time. They're looking at innovative technologies to manufacture these vaccines. So we need to make sure that as a regulatory community, we are ready to step in and to support, but also that we are ready to be able to effectively assess the clinical aspects of their dossiers that they'll be submitting to us. And I know some of you also span into the quality assessment. So we cannot, as a continent, invest in local manufacturing and have this agenda of having local manufacturers and not equally ensure that we have capable and ready and enabling national authorities. So you're really contributing, you participating in this program contributes to a broader African agenda, and you will actually be enabling a broader African agenda. So while we have so benefited from your participation in this program, I hope that you found it valuable. I hope that you found it worth the time that you've invested in yourself, you've invested into this program. But probably more so, I hope that you've used this opportunity to build a network. We cannot operate in silos as an African NRA or regulatory community. We cannot harmonize if we work in silos. We cannot participate in collaborative reviews if we work in silos. So I hope that you've met someone new. If you haven't, ping someone as we are in this session and make a connection with them, right? You'll be amazed at how having a strong network on the continent really goes a long way in one advancing their careers. And so I just hope that you found value in participating in this program. And we really thank you for your participation and contributing, as I say, to a broader African agenda around ensuring that we've got the capacity and the capability to look at a whole range of products that will be coming into the continent. So thank you to all of you. Stephanie, I'll hand back to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tumi, for those reflections. And thank you so much for highlighting the importance of collaboration and being intentional about human capacity development, especially to create capable and ready regulatory authorities that can support our African agenda. So I just want to reiterate how much we appreciate your support, your collaboration, as well as your direction for the growth of this program as a leading voice on our continent. So thank you so much. The program we celebrate today, though, has also been shaped by the contributions of many individuals across institutions, with a minimum of 20 faculty members who have supported our participants throughout their training. To reflect on the academic development of this program and the journey of our cohorts, it is my great pleasure to introduce Professor Colin Pillay, who is our leader in this program, who plays a very important role in terms of its organization and its delivery. So Colin, over to you.
Thanks, Stephanie. Graduating class of 2026, faculty in the program, guests, family members, and friends. So it really is a very proud moment for me to address you today. I'm looking at the list of participants and I see several members of the faculty that are here, and Stephanie's asked me to talk on behalf of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with that. But I'm also going to say that if we have time towards the end, and it's very likely that we will, I'm going to invite the faculty to open their mics and say a word or two. My basic message from the faculty is basically this. We would like to thank you, the teacher, the participants in this class. Excuse me. This doesn't want to close. Sorry about that. So basically, on behalf of the faculty, I'd like to thank the students, because the teachers, all of them international and regional faculty, constantly remind us that they learn from you as much as them teaching you. They learn from you during the small group sessions in particular. They hear about perspectives that have not necessarily been previously tapped. So that's the bottom line message from the faculty to the students. We learn from you. It's really cool to be able to talk after Phyllis and Washington. Both of them come from funders, but Stephanie has already said, and Dr. Toomey has also reiterated this, that these are people that don't just simply throw money and then walk away. They've been actively involved, and they are friends of Africa and friends of African regulatory science. So it's always inspiring to hear from you and to hear your messages. To me, indeed, this is the 5th iteration of the course. Stephanie did a presentation at SCOMRA. She's now submitted a paper to the British Journal of Clinical Pharmacology. It is under peer review. Let's hope it goes through a successful review. But when that eventually comes out, you will see how we've evolved the curriculum over the several iterations of the course. Stephanie, good luck with the peer review process. Let us know when the paper comes out. In the meantime, you could also check our website where there's some highlights from the SCOMRA meeting. So when you get to this, multiple iterations, you wonder what next. And let me comment on 2 tactics. Some of that will come immediately after I finish and Stephanie does the roll call. And 2 tactics on sustainability. Do we continue to do this? Now, a lot of alumni have joined the faculty, and they're an important part of the sustainability. They've been contributing to the lessons themselves. They've highlighted local experiences. They've been facilitating the small group discussions. And indeed, with this current iteration, they've started to take over some of the lessons that were previously delivered by the international faculty. So indeed, during the course, during the small group discussions, we ask questions like, how do the course materials apply within the agencies that are represented in the class? And then how do some of the global north so-called best practices, how do they really apply in Africa? And indeed, it is only you that can say that. So the alumni faculty have been taking on a role to lead and teach the course. So the tactic there is training the trainers, or more correctly, to say the trainers have been trained and are now contributing. So another aspect is that there's a version of this course that is available. We call it the self-paced course. It's on our website, on the Moodle platform. Our idea here is that colleagues who have been alumni or colleagues who haven't gone through the course might be confronted with new tasks in their day-to-day work, and they might want to look at some of the materials related to how to handle that particular task. So at SAPRA, there are 5 colleagues who have been available to play this role. What we need to do going forward is to extend this role of being internal mentors and consultants to other agencies that have participated in the course. Just a quick additional theme, Washington mentioned competencies. I'm very pleased to say that this course is perfectly aligned with the WHO's Global Competency Framework that was published in 2023. The content touches on a large proportion of the skills required for the roles mentioned in the WHO competency framework, that is, the reviewers, vigilance professionals, and inspectors. Let's see, is there anything else that I've forgotten? Oh, yes. So another just quick callback to Stephanie and Wits University. They're such an important academic validator of this course. But there's one additional thing that you as class of 2026 can do, and that is to contribute to the evidence base for the regulatory aspects of work that we do. So on behalf of Stephanie, if she doesn't remember to say this, please come back after this certificate course and do research, whether it's with Wits University, whether it's with the university down the road in your particular country. But let's start getting together an evidence base for African regulatory science. Finally, let me warmly send out congratulations, good luck, and thank yous for the important work that all of you continue to do to ensure safe and effective and quality medicines for our people. Stephanie, back to you.
Thank you so much, Colin. I wonder now if we could give a brief moment to our faculty who are with us today. If you would like to unmute and switch your cameras on and greet our graduates before we move forward with the program. Is there anybody who would like to? You can go ahead, Prof. Volter.
Yeah, Stephanie, I'm really proud to be part of the faculty of this course and now this fifth iteration of the course, and I've seen tremendous advancement in the knowledge of the students, and I really hope they bring into practice what we have taught you. Principles of when I look at my own topic, the biosimilars. Practice convergence, practice reliance, because you as regulators have not only a responsibility for quality assessment, but you also have a responsibility to advanced healthcare and not to block access of patients to valuable medicines. And I hope that with the principles that we have taught you, you will be able to participate in that on behalf of patients in your country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Volter. Over to you, Prof. Salik.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be part of this graduation ceremony, which is a sacrosanct date and milestone in the WITS and pharmacometric course. For me, as Walter said, it's a privilege to be part of the program. And also I have been fortunate to be involved from the beginning, and it's nice to see, the repeating graduates every year after year for now being the fifth iteration. And I want to add my warm congratulations to all the graduates, to those who have said that before. But I also want to come back to Colin word that, we are learning from you. If I could just quote Oscar Wilde, said, anything that's worth to be learned cannot be taught. So it is actually a mutual learning environment that we learn from one another. It's the co-creation together. And that has been really amazing, unique feature of this program. And now, as Colin said, and Stephanie also mentioned, bringing back the alumni to be part of the program and sharing their experiences and those experiences that they actually work with on the ground and share that with the rest of the community. That is one of the assets of this program. And I hope that what you have learned together through this program, meeting of minds, has helped you to utilize those into your day-to-day work. And that will also not only enrich your own environment, but also the environment, as Tumi mentioned, working together, for the whole community of Africa. This is a historical moment with the development and operationalization of the AMA. And every one of you as a regulatory professional will be contributed to success moving forward and making Africa the country that is should be, and I'm sure that in about 10, 15 years is the force to reckon with. So congratulations again, and very, very well done.
Thank you so much, Prof. Salek. I'll hand over now to Dr. Lehrman.
Thank you, Stephanie. And yes, warm givings to all those who have graduated. It's really a pleasure to work with you during the course. It's always a challenge when some questions comes up, but when you are answering and when we are in the discussion with you, it's always a great thing. Thank you very much. And some of your answers to the tests and the questions in the test were really challenging, and I was surprised to see some of the answers, which has really taken me back to some good situations and which I have to take into account preparing other sessions. Thank you very much. And again, warm congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I see now we have Prof. Kennedy.
Hi, everybody. This is a great opportunity of catching up with the team, especially the fellows that have been through the course. I remember when I initially was approached to be part of this faculty, I was very excited, but then I look at it now and it has really expanded. I echo what all my colleagues have said, but there's one more thing that I want to say that this team should take advantage of. One of the things that we have learned, and this is a ripple effect of this collaboration here, and Collins would be aware of it because we've already talked about it, is you're now all here, you're from different countries, you're from different departments, you do have a good opportunity of collaborating. So if you can take advantage of the fact that you all come from different backgrounds with different skills, there's lots and lots of other opportunities. Now, if you look at, say, me and Sam, I met Sam here, and between me and Sam Salek, Professor Sam Salek, we've done quite a lot. We've supervised, postgraduate students, we've got papers, we've built capacity, and even outside of this space, we meet when he's around. And I'm also letting him know that next time I'm in the UK, we will meet and see whether we can get into other areas of collaboration. So do realize that in the public health space, collaboration is a way to go. Collaboration is a way to fight any public health challenges that we have, and together we all succeed. Thank you, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Prof. Kennedy. I'm going to hand over to Dr. Villian and then over to Dr. Al-Baghdadi.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. Greetings to the rest of the faculty. Congratulations to all those who have completed this course. Many of the other faculty have said most of what I wanted to say, so I just want to point out that, this is in professional life, it's always a continuous learning experience, and your careers can move from one phase to another. I remember more than 12 years ago when I got involved in a certain learning or professional development activity with Colin as the main driver of that initiative. And here we are so many years later, I'm participating in another kind of capacity building initiative. And both of them are involved capacity building for probable future leaders on the African continent and worldwide. So I'm proud to be part of the faculty. I'm happy to see that it has led to so many batches of people who graduated. I hope that the skills learned from this program are going to really impact healthcare provision in the African continent. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Villian. Over to you, Dr. Al-Baghdadi.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, all students and colleagues. This is my third year participating in this program, and honestly cannot see more clearly the progress that's been achieved over the year and the caliber of the graduating students, getting higher and higher. But something has not changed is the enthusiasm and the passion that you can see in the class. And this is the stuff that makes me personally, I'm sure agree with the other colleagues, makes me young again, feeling your passion and your energy. I'm also confident that you will apply what you've learned over the course to push forward the change, the progress in your own organization and indeed in your own country, whether it is capacity buildings or skilling of the associates. It is not easy, and it's a hard work. So don't think of course, people will say, oh, I learned this and I learned that, and they will trust me to make the change. As I said, it is not easy. However, we are here, as Colin said, as an alumni, always here to help, advise. So please feel free to come back and ask for help. It is available to you. And at the end, I would say thank you very much for making me a small part of this huge achievement. Can't be more proud. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to hand over to our last one then from Prof. Pumla. Go ahead.
I'll keep it short. I just also wanted to congratulate the group. The 2 sessions that I've done with the group were very interactive. The energy was high, and I hope your future involves being involved with finding a better network between the regulatory authorities within Africa.
Thank you. Thank you, Pumla. Thank you so much. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, course faculty. I think it's important to note that the development and the delivery of a course of this nature really requires significant effort, from designing the curriculum to guiding the participants to supporting their progress. Really requires significant effort from each of our faculty members. And our faculty members come together from very rich and diverse expertise, from regulatory authorities to academia and professional practice. And so their willingness to share their knowledge, to mentor our participants, and to engage so collaboratively has really been the fundamental backbone to the success of this program. And so I just want to take a very brief opportunity now to thank our faculty on behalf of the University of the Witwatersrand, as well as the program organizers. Thank you all for your contributions and your dedications to this program. We definitely could not have achieved any of it without your support and your participation. So thank you very much. So now we've come to the really fun part of today's session, which is the recognition of our graduating class. The graduate roll call provides us a really cool opportunity to formally recognize each member of the class, of our graduating class of 2025-2026, for their dedication and their successful completion of the program. So let us proceed with the roll call. Angela Kosa, Angela Manishimwe, Anik Kubana, Asma Fawood, Bethany Chikonga, Bodena Baisa, Bongi Nkosi Sfiso, Chantal Chinyamunyam, Basilides Asefa, Francina Nambaho, Gad Lagat, Grace Mutize, John Ntsiamana, Johannes Mankhane, Kiribone Malachi, Leslonolo Tladi, Lindsay Ade, Michelle van Wyk, Molebocheng Sitole, Nechal Amma, Olavien de Kalako, Olivia Lukumi, Patience Makamu, Rania Hassan, Rania Shausha, Taryn Thaver, Tesfahun Girma, Tabang Petle, Theodora Asaek, Tondani Nefutalo, Chatsana Sanal, Tsitsi Chaparatsa. Congratulations to our class of 2025, 2026. Congratulations to all of our graduates for this achievement. Okay, so quickly, just to place this achievement within a longer professional journey, we will now hear from the alumni who have previously completed this program, who have now contributed as mentors within their regulatory institutions as well as within our faculty to this course. I hand over now to Maps from.
Good day, guests, colleagues, and graduates. It's an honor to address you as we celebrate your achievement as newly qualified clinical assessors. This milestone is not only significant for your personal growth, but also strengthens the regulatory system that millions of Africans rely on for safe, effective, and quality medicines. The role you step into today is both operational and strategic, carrying real influence over public health. From my own experience in an African regulatory authority, I've learned that effective assessment is built on integrity, consistency, analytical rigor, and the courage to make evidence-based decisions. Assessment is far more than reviewing a dossier. It requires understanding regulatory science, aligning global standards with local realities, and recognizing our responsibility as public health protectors. Upholding public trust is central to everything that we do. Bridging theory and practice is fundamental to strong regulation. And so you now hold solid theoretical knowledge, but it is in daily practice that this knowledge is tested. Across Africa, regulators often work with incomplete data, tight timelines, and shifting national priorities. Theory provides the framework, while practice teaches us how to apply it responsibly when consequences are tangible. And so whether you work in clinical trials, pharmacovigilance, or product evaluation setup, let your theory guide your decisions and real-world conditions refine your judgment. Mentorship will be essential throughout your journey. For instance, we rely on colleagues on interpreting guidelines, navigating gray areas, and face ethical challenges. In time, others will rely on you. And so your willingness to learn from one another and to support those who follow will help build trusted and resilient regulatory systems across the continent. Collaboration is equally important. And so Africa is advancing through harmonization efforts, reliance pathways, joint assessments, and continental regulatory initiatives, because regulatory work does not happen in isolation. And so by participating in platforms such as Zazibona and AMA, you contribute to efficient and transparent systems that ultimately benefit patients in every country. To the faculty and lesson leaders, thank you for your dedication to this program and for strengthening Africa's regulatory workforce. Your expertise and commitment make achievements like today possible. To the graduates, I would like to say, continue to reflect on your practice, apply scientific judgment, value mentorship, and embrace collaboration, because no regulatory system succeeds on its own. Your contribution is vital to the safety, quality, and efficacy of medicines, and importantly, to the future of Africa's regulatory landscape. Congratulations again on this significant achievement. Thank you very much.
Distinguished guests, faculty members, graduating fellows. My name is Asari Ebua, and I work with a Food and Drugs Authority, Ghana. In 2021, I had the privilege to be part of this fellowship, and so I appreciate what it has taken all our fellows to come this far. So on this note, I would want to say a big congratulations to you all. Today marks the end of this fellowship, but in many ways, it is also the beginning of the work that lies ahead of you as assessors. Typically, training like this gives us strong foundation, but then our growth as clinical assessors continues long after the program ends. Over the past months, you have deepened your understanding of clinical assessment and regulatory decision making. You've had the opportunity to ask critical questions. You have challenged ideas, and you've strengthened your ability to evaluate data. To grow in this field, one habit becomes very important, and that is the habit of continuous self-learning. We all know that regulatory science is evolving. New medicines are developed, new evidence emerge, and new approaches to clinical research continue to appear. Because of this, learning cannot stop when the training ends. It must continue through curiosity. Over time, this habit becomes something very valuable, which I would say confidence. Very soon, you realize that people in your agency will look to you for guidance, and this is mentorship, which normally will not come with a title. Remember that every dossier you review as an assessor represents patients waiting for safe and effective medicine. And every single decision you contribute to help build trust in your regulatory system. The work of a clinical assessor may not always be visible, but its impact is significant. I also want to encourage you to maintain the connections that you've built through this program. Collaboration is one of our greatest strengths as a continent. By sharing knowledge and supporting one another, we strengthen our regulatory system in Africa. When I joined the faculty in 2024, it felt like a full circle for me. But then I realized that this program is not just about training assessors. It is also about building a community. Today you graduate as assessors. Tomorrow you will help shape the future of regulatory science in Africa. I will admonish you to carry this responsibility with confidence, humility, and commitment to excellence. Once again, congratulations to you all. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Frida Shiweda, and I'm a facilitator for the Clinical Assessor course for the past 2 years. So having started this course actually as a participant in 2023, it was not what I expected, especially with the regulatory background, and particularly because coming from pharmacovigilance, everything that we did there was always centered to ensuring that the patients have safe medication at their disposal. This course was actually so lovely for me as a student because then it opened up my mind and made me appreciate clinical data so much, and also appreciating not only how the data is collected but how it's presented as well, and how it all translates back to us not only being problem solvers as regulators, but also ensuring that we make clinically sound decisions and also we become critical thinkers. So to all the graduates, right now, I would like to wish you a congratulations for coming thus far, and really hope that you use all the tools and all the knowledge that you've gathered in this course to be able to plow back in your regulator and really make the decisions that need to be made. As a facilitator, I've actually gotten to learn to appreciate how the team just coordinates the program, from loading the lessons, ensuring that we keep to time when presenting on Thursdays. For me, that kind of organization education has also helped me to realize that it's important for us to be efficient in the execution of this course, but also truly that as regulators we have the capacity and the training and the resources to be able to ensure that the medicines that our African people are taking are put on the market simply because regulators have all the resources and the capacity that they need to ensure that medicines are safe for all. Thank you so much, and I wish you the very best for the future to come.
Good day, distinguished organizers, facilitators, colleagues, and fellow graduates. First and foremost, I'd like to express my sincere appreciation to the organizers and facilitators for delivering such a practical, engaging, and highly relevant program. Your dedication, commitment, and generosity with your time did not go unnoticed. On behalf of all participants, I'd like to extend our heartfelt thanks. To my fellow graduates, we all know it was not always easy joining the sessions every Thursday after long and demanding work days. Yet week after week, you all showed up ready to learn, ready to ask questions, and actively contribute. That collective commitment, it made the learning experience truly dynamic and enriching. And thank you for that. So as part of the clinical assessment team at the Medicines Control Authority of Zimbabwe, this training really benefited me a lot. The knowledge gained has strengthened my confidence in assessing clinical data. It has enhanced my ability to interpret clinical evidence, and it has improved my capacity to evaluate its validity within a regulatory framework. One of the key lessons I take from this program is the importance of looking beyond the data itself and understanding the context in which the data is generated and applying the totality of evidence approach. We had sessions on clinical endpoints, interpretation of clinical data, safety evaluation, and risk management. And these sessions provided practical tools that are directly applicable to my day-to-day regulatory work. I also appreciated the opportunities created during the breakout room sessions. This allowed us to interact with colleagues from regulatory agencies across Africa and to learn how others approach similar challenges. Hearing these diverse perspectives was incredibly valuable, and it reminded me that although we work in different countries, we share a common goal, that is to ensure that patients have access to safe, effective, and quality medicines. So looking ahead, I believe the future of regulatory collaboration in Africa is very promising. Programs like this demonstrate the power of bringing regulators and industry together to learn from one another, share experiences, and build lasting professional networks. So through continued collaboration, work sharing, and reliance mechanisms, we can further strengthen our regulatory systems and improve access to medicines across the continent. So finally, to the organizers and facilitators, once again, thank you for investing in us. And to my fellow graduates, congratulations. And I look forward to the continued collaboration and impact that will come from the knowledge, skills, and connections we have built together. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. I am Rania Ibrahim Shusha from Egyptian Drug Authority, Cairo, Egypt. It's my great pleasure and honor to participate in the dossier assessment for clinical assessor with the Africa Regulatory Agency's courses delivered through the PMX Africa EDU program. And I would like to sincerely thank to the organizer and instructors for this valuable learning opportunity. This course provides important insight into the journey of medicine development from the molecule to the market concept through drug discovery, ethical development, clinical development, and regulatory evaluation. It also strengthens our ability to critically assess clinical data, endpoints, and outcome, and enhance our understanding of how clinical data should be properly collected, interpreted, and reported to support the sound of regulatory decision. In addition, decisions on regulatory assessment and product licensing highlight the key role of regulatory authorities in evaluating the safety, efficacy, and benefit-risk balance of medicinal products. Overall, this program has significantly enhanced my regulatory knowledge and assessment skills, and I truly appreciate this enriching learning experience. Thank you again so much for giving us this chance to incorporate and exchange experience with our colleagues from different regulatory authorities, and I hope to meet you again in another courses to get a benefit throughout the our Africa continent. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much to everybody who's contributed to today's ceremony. Throughout this program, we've heard different perspectives from our international partners, from our funder, the GIZ, our founding regulatory agency, SAPRA, our faculty members, our alumni, and the members of our graduating class. And together, the contribution seems to illustrate the same important point, in that strengthening regulatory systems will require a sustained collaboration. So as previously mentioned, and I think again it's important to reiterate, is that as you move forward in your careers, I want to encourage you, remain connected with one another and with this program. And as Colin and the faculty also mentioned, consider further studies. Each of your faculty members are more than happy to warmly welcome you for additional studies and additional programs. So maintain contact, exchange experiences, and support one another, and then continue to work together to advance regulatory sciences and strengthen the regulatory systems in Africa. So as we conclude today's ceremony, we would like to just invite our graduates to participate in our small celebratory tradition. It's something that we do every year. On the screen now, you will see a slide that says, "Congratulations, class of 2025-2026. So although we've gathered virtually, we'd like to invite our graduates to join us in a symbolic cap toss moment. Wherever you are joining us from today, please switch on your cameras and raise your caps and celebrate your achievement together with us. We'd love to take a photograph of you as we celebrate with you. Okay, wonderful. For the purposes of time, we're going to move on. Fantastic. So for the very last time, congratulations, class of 2025-2026. We're incredibly proud of you. And thank you also to our partners, our faculty members, and our institutions who've contributed to this program. And thank you to every person who has joined us for today's celebration. So with that, I wish you all a very wonderful remainder of your day, and I close this graduation ceremony. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, and many congratulations again.
Thank you, everyone.